Hi everyone, Janie here, and today I'm going to show you how to make these cute little tea bag dispensers, which make great gifts, and also how to make the cute little tea bag envelopes to hold the tea bags that you're going to put in here. And I have made one of these for myself, and I am making one as a gift for my sister, and I started thinking maybe you guys would like to learn how to make them too. So let's head on over to the craft table and I'll show you.
Before we get started today, I want to tell you a couple of things about this tea dispenser box. So the first thing is I designed it specifically to hold these little envelopes, these tea bag envelopes. And these little envelopes are just the right size to hold pretty much any tea bag, including the Celestial seasoning bags, which are a little bit bigger than most tea bags because I use Celestial seasoning. And the other thing is that I designed it the size to fit ATC cards for decorating. So, you can always cut out whatever size you want, but if you happen to want to use something like these ATC cards that come with the Small and Precious Cozy Autumn Pack, then they are just ready to go to decorate this. And these tea bag envelopes are also from the Small and Precious Cozy Autumn Pack, and they are from Victoria Designs. So let's get started on making this box. Okay, what you're going to need is a piece of cardstock cut to 11.5 inches by 10 3/8 inches. And with the 11.5 inches going across the top, we are going to be scoring at 2 5/8. So 2.5, the very next line over would be 2 5/8. And we're going to score that. And the next one is 5.5. And 8 1/8, so that would be the little line just past the 8. And 11 inches. Trying to reach across here to get that. Okay, so now that we've done that, this side has just this 1/2 inch where we just scored it a 1/2 inch. We're going to turn that to the bottom. Okay, so that's at the bottom, and now we are at 10 3/8 across the top, and this is where it gets tricky. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to score at a 1/2 inch, and we're going to score that all the way down. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to score at 2 7/8 inches. So that is the line just before the 3, okay, just the little line just before the 3, but we're not going to score all the way down. We're going to score past this score line and all the way down to the second score line. That's as far as you're going to go. So 2 7/8 inches, and you are going to stop at the second score line. Okay, now for the next one, we go to 3 3/8. So there's 3, and then 3/8 is the little line just before 3.5. So 3 3/8, and we are going to score all the way down. Okay, and the next one that we're going to do is 7 inches, and again that one is going to go all the way down. And then we are going to go to 7.5 inches and only to the second score line. So 7.5, and we're going to go past the first score line, and we're going to stop at the second score line. And then the last one we're going to do is 9 7/8. And 9 7/8 is that little line just before 10. So we're not going all the way to 10, just to that little line there. And that one we are going to bring all the way down to the bottom. Now, with that done, we are actually going to turn it completely around so that now we have 10 3/8 again. So still staying with 10 3/8 across the top. We are now going to score at, I actually have to look at my directions for this. So 2 7/8. So again, that's the little line just before the 3, and we're only going to go down 2 score lines. Now on this side it's different because the first score line is right here and the second one is right here, so it's a little bit different. But we're going to go to 2 7/8 and we're going to score past the first one, and we're going to stop at the second one, and then we are going to go to 7.5 inches, and again we're going to go to the second score line, so past the first one and stopping at the second one. And now we have all of our scoring done, and I'm going to put up a diagram that is, whew, that's blurry. I'm going to put up a diagram right now that you are going to want to pause and look at, and I'm just going to show you right now, but I'm going to put it up where you can actually see it better. But I'm going to put up this diagram, and you can do a screenshot, or you can use the link below in the description box and go to my blog post where you can download that picture as well as the written directions.
This diagram will make it really easy for you. It shows you where to cut and where to fold. The solid lines are cut lines, the dashed lines are fold lines, and as you can see, it says cut and remove, so you know exactly what to cut and remove.
So this is the diagram that I just had up on the screen, and I'm going to explain one more time. So all of the dark lines that you see, those are where you cut. And all of these things that say cut and remove, those will be gone. Once you do these cuts, those things are gone. And these little corners here that have the dark pin marks in them, those will also be removed. And all of the dashed lines or dotted lines, those are score lines where you're going to be folding. So once you've scored it and then you cut it out according to the diagram, this is what you're going to have right there. So now this is the piece that we're going to be working with. And don't forget, you can download this diagram off my blog. There's a link below, okay? So now it's time to start folding. And we're just going to fold on every score line, and everything is getting folded inward, okay? Everything is folded inward. So once we get that done, I'm going to show you another little trick that will make putting this box together easier. Or not necessarily easier, but easy, I guess. And you might want to use your bone folder to do this. I didn't bring mine over here, so totally unprepared here. But make sure that you get all of the folds folded in good. Okay, so now that we've done that, whoops, I've got 2 more to fold. Okay, now that we've done that, grab your scissors, and I'll grab mine. And what we're going to do is every one of these little flaps or tabs or whatever you want to call them, but these little 1/2 inch pieces, okay, on every one of those, we are just going to cut just a little mitered cut, just a little angle, just like that. Just like that. And we're going to do that all the way around the box. I'm going to show you where you're not going to do it though. So I'm going to come right over here really quick. You're not going to do it here. You're going to leave this flap alone because it does not have any of these tabs on it. So this gets left alone, but everything else, I'm not even measuring. You just kind of eyeball it and just make a little angled cut like that. And I'm going to do that all the way around, and I'll be back. Okay, and they have all been cut, so you can get an idea of what that looks like, and it just makes it easier when folding things in. And another thing, all of those pieces that you cut out, don't throw them away. You're going to be needing one of them. You'll be needing this one, actually, depending on how you cut it out. But you'll be needing one of these, so hang on to those. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to decorate it, because we have to decorate at least this front panel first before we cut the slit in it, and we have to cut the slit before we finish putting the box together. And I'm going to be using these ATC cards that came with the Small and Precious Cozy Autumn Pack. And so I'm going to go cut these out, and I'm going to ink the edges, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I got them cut out and inked. I got this one cut down smaller for the lid. And I could have gone with the pretty greens, and I think they're beautiful, and I'll use these for something, but I really love the oranges and reds of fall. Fall is my favorite time of year. And also you'll see that I ran 2 of these through the Xyron. I really only needed to run 1 through the Xyron, but I didn't want to waste a sheet here. So they both fit, so I put 2 through. I would also suggest, if you don't have a Xyron, to use a spray adhesive. And just for the one that's going to go on the front panel where we're going to put the slit, because let me show you, when we put that slit in, there is still a piece of that ATC down here, or a piece of whatever you're going to be decorating the front with. And I made the mistake on this one to not use a spray or a Xyron, and so I kind of had to glue this piece back on the bottom. Or you may choose to just leave that little piece off. But I decided to go this route so that it has full coverage, and you'll understand more as we get to cutting the slit. But first thing, let me get this off from here. I'm going to put this on that front panel, and actually I'm going to use a little glue trick here just to help me make sure I have everything lined up. So if you haven't seen my tips and tricks videos, this is one of my tips and tricks to help give me a little wiggle room. So I'm just going to do my best to line this up right in the middle, and that looks good to me. Okay, so that one is on, and then to put these on, I'm just going to use my Beacon 3-in-1, which is my go-to adhesive all the time, as you're quite aware of. So we're just going to do this. Now keep in mind, you know, like I said, I made these so that the ATCs would fit on there. But if you aren't using ATC cards and you're just cutting out your own patterned paper, you can do that to fit. ATCs run 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So that kind of gives you an idea of the size that you want to cut. And I didn't get that quite centered. There we go. See, one of the reasons I like beacons, that's really stuck there, but it did give me enough time to wiggle it into place. Yep. Okay. But yeah, it just so happened that these ATCs came with this pack, and there are so many uses for them, and I just thought they were perfect to decorate the sides. But of course, you'll probably want to make one of these for other seasons, so you know you won't be using fall ATCs. You could be using other ATCs that you have, or any papers that you have that you want to use. Okay, make sure I get this one lined up. Okay, we are almost done here. And then we will get on to putting that slit in the front. Okay. This is really a good trick, guys, if you are using like double-sided tape and you want to make sure you get something, laid down right. I have to look at this to make sure it's going the right direction. Yeah, it's going the right direction. Okay. But see how it allows me to kind of slide it a little bit? Okay, that looks right to me. There we go. And of course, get that glue off from there. And oh, we have that right there to do. So let me get that on there. And then we are going to show you what to do for that slit. And it's actually fairly easy. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we're ready. Okay, let me grab a template I have because I want to show you. So, if you want, make yourself a template. You know, make one of these out of just a piece of white cardstock or whatever color cardstock you want to use, and don't put it together, but make your slit. And that way, it's the easiest thing to do. That's not what I have been doing, but it is the easiest thing to do. Get everything lined up and you can see exactly where that slit is supposed to go. And then you can get out your craft knife and just cut right around it, or you can, you know, use a pen or something and color that in so you know where to cut when you lift the template off. And it makes it really easy. But for me, I happen to have a ruler that I can see through. It's really nice, and all of these lines going this direction, each one is 1/4 of an inch apart. So what I do, and actually this is dark and I have to stick my nose on it, so just so I can see the lines. This was a mistake to use something dark, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure up 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. So I'm going to go up 1/4 of an inch and I'm going to put a slit from this seam to this seam, so all the way across the front. Then I'm going to go up another 1/4 of an inch and I'm going to put another slit, and then I'm just going to cut that out. And I'm just going to be doing that with my, let me grab it here. I'll be doing it with a craft knife, and you can do it with scissors, however you want to do it. But basically you're just going to be going up 1/4 of an inch, cutting over, up another 1/4 of an inch, cutting over, and cutting it out. Okay, I cut that piece out, and let me show you the template again. So had I had the template on there, you can see, there we go, would have had it in the right place. So I really suggest making a template if you're going to be making more than one of these. It really comes in handy. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a circle punch here. This one is 5/8 of an inch. You might have a 1/2 inch, 1 inch. It really doesn't matter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in from the bottom here, and I'm going to kind of try to find the middle. And I'm only going to cut a 1/2 notch there. So we're not cutting a full circle, just a 1/2 circle. And there we go. Now we have a nice little notch right there. All right, so now we have that taken care of. And at this point, if you wanted to, you could ink the edges, but I don't think it really needs the edges inked. So now where do we go from here? Well, the answer to that is simple. It is time to put this together. So we have this little 1/2 inch section right here, this little flap, and we are going to use 1/2 inch double-sided tape, or you can use a wet glue, or both, really. So let me just, this is so easy, much easier if I just cut off a piece of this so I'm not dealing with that roll. And then I'm just going to line it up right up against that fold, and then I'll just cut off the excess. It's just so much easier than dealing with a whole roll and having it get in the way. So cut that off and get that out of the way. It's stuck to my fingers here. Okay. And it's okay if there's a little excess there. So once you've put that on, and you can see we put it on the outside here, okay? So once you've got that on there, peel off your protective layer, and again, I am going to use a little bit of wet glue. Use a little bit of my beacons here just to go along the edge, just to give me a little bit of wiggle room. And we're just going to match it up edge to edge, just like that. Okay? Got those edges matched up. You guys all know how to do that. You don't need me telling you. So I'm going to let that dry for a second, and I'm going to get a little piece we're going to need for the inside. So remember, I told you to not throw these away? Well, this is one that actually has score lines on not all sides, but on two sides. And I'm just going to cut those off. And that should be the right size for the inside. So I'm just going to kind of match it up with the bottom here. And it might be a little bit too long. So we'll find out, actually. Tell you what. Let's just fold this in and close up the bottom for a minute. Okay, and this is how to tell if it's going to fit. Slide it in this way, and it fits. So that's perfect. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to put some glue right along this edge. And for this one, it is easier to use a wet glue than a double-sided tape. And this is the bottom of the box, by the way. Okay, this is the bottom of the box. And we're going to close it off. So we're going to put a little glue right here. And actually, we could add a little glue to these little sides here if we want. And then we're going to close the box. Okay, and you can just press on the bottom. You can come in from the top. Actually, one thing that works really good for me is just using my glue bottle and putting it down there and just kind of rubbing it around, making sure that everything adheres nicely. And then we're going to take our wet glue and we're going to go down inside the box. Okay, so I know we can't really see what we're doing and it doesn't have to be perfect, but we are just adding a little glue in the bottom of the box. So I don't know if you can see it in there, just adding a little glue. We're going to take that piece, we're going to slide it in, make sure that it's in there good. And then, again, we're going to take our glue bottle, or whatever you want, and push it around inside. Make sure that it's in there really good. And this just adds extra stability to the bottom of the box, you know, when you're closing it off, because you don't want to maybe lift it up to move it somewhere and have all your tea bags fall out the bottom. So, here is our box. There we go. Now, wasn't that easy? That was super easy, right? Now it's time to move on to the tea bags. The tea bags come on a sheet like this, and you just cut them out, score them, fold them, and put them together. So easy. And they even come with these down here, which I'm going to show you one. Let me grab it here. These are so cute. So you fold them in half, like so, and then you can staple these with a little string to a tea bag if you wanted to, or over the one that's already on a tea bag if you already have one with a string. So this is so cute if you want to use these. Really cute. But anyways, you cut these out, and then you can either use your scoreboard or a ruler. So I'm going to kind of show you both really quick. I have a dark pencil line down the center of my scoreboard. I saw this and I thought this was genius when I saw someone do it. And so just line it up. So I'm going to do this one side this way and I'm going to do the other side another way. But line it up like that and then just score right down there. And you've got that scored, okay? But another way to do this is you could just use your ruler and line your ruler up with it and then just fold that over. So this is hard to do on a scoreboard. My ruler doesn't want to stay in place, but just fold it up like that. And so now you have your two flaps. So those are just, two different ways to do it, either a scoreboard or a ruler. And it's the same thing with this top flap. So I'm actually going to move the scoreboard out of my way and bring this back in. And so we're going to do the same thing up here. Actually, there's a skinnier end, not a skinnier, but a sharper end. And we're going to line it up and fold that right over. So we have that done, and now we just need to fold this up. So just bring it on up there. Just to me, it's much easier without the scoreboard. Just makes life easier. And there we have a tea bag. So all you have to do is use your double-sided tape or a little bit of glue. And I'm just going to use my glue. I think it's easier than using double-sided tape. Okay? And now you have your tea bag. So, wasn't that easy and cute? I just love these. Look at that. I don't even think you've got to see them up close yet. Let me grab another one. Oh, wait, it's the same one. Hold on a second. Here we go. I'll just grab the sheet and you can see them upside down. I'm really good at this, right? There you go. Aren't these just cute? I love them. And I just love this whole like tea-stained, distressed look of them. They're awesome. Like I said, this comes in the small and precious cozy autumn pack, as well as the ATC cards, as well as a bunch of papers and envelopes and all kinds of amazing things. I'll put a link to that below in the description box. It's from Victoria Designs. They have awesome printables, so I'll put a link in the description box. Now, wasn't that an absolutely easy tea box to make? And it is so cute. And these envelopes to put the tea bags in, I just love them. Absolutely love them. We've got one put together here. We'll just take a tea bag, stick it down inside, and then you can close the back. You can, seal it with some glue, double-sided tape, or maybe just something temporary, and fill up this box and give it as a gift. Just like I'm going to do, giving one to my sister, or maybe you're going to want one for yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you give it a try.
Thank you all for watching today, and if you like this project, don't forget there is a link at the top of the description box below to my blog post where you can get the written directions as well as downloading that diagram that shows you how everything is done. And if you're new to my channel, I hope you subscribe and click that little bell so that you don't miss out on any of the other videos that are coming up. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.